some memories you don't revisit because they hurt. And then there are memories you avoid because they feel alive. Like they're waiting for you to think about them so they can crawl back into your chest and tighten their fingers around your heart. My real name isn't the one I'll use here. For this story, call me Lucia. I was 22 years old when my life slowly turned into something that felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. My ex-boyfriend, whose name I'll change to Marcus, was 25 when we met in college. At first, he was quiet, attentive, gentle, the kind of person who walked you home even when you said you were fine, the kind of person who remembered small details and brought them up weeks later. Back then, I thought that meant he cared. I didn't realize it meant I was being watched. We broke up on a cold winter night. There was no screaming, no dramatic scene. I just told him that something inside me felt wrong, that I didn't feel safe anymore, that I needed space, that I didn't love him the way I used to. He stared at me for a long time. Then he nodded. He said he understood. He said he would leave me alone. He didn't. The first few days after the breakup were quiet. Too quiet. Then the messages started. At first, they were harmless. "Hey, just checking if you're okay. You don't have to reply." I didn't. Then they changed. "I saw you waiting for the bus today. You look tired. That red sweater suits you. You shouldn't walk alone at night." My stomach dropped. I hadn't seen him anywhere, but he had seen me. Strange things began happening around my apartment. The door I was sure I had locked would sometimes be slightly open. The hallway would smell faintly like his cologne. My phone would vibrate late at night with no notifications at all. One evening, I found a note taped to my door. "I'll always watch over you, even if you don't want me to." I tore it down with shaking hands. Months later, I tried to move on. I went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just coffee and awkward laughter with someone new. The third time one of them came to pick me up, his car had been scratched. Carved into the pane were the words, "Stay away from what is mine." Another guy I talked to started receiving anonymous messages. "Do you know who she really is? She'll ruin you. You don't belong in her life." One by one, they left. Not because of me, but because someone was scaring them away. I went to the police. They listened. They nodded. They told me that without direct threats or proof, there wasn't much they could do. That night, I slept with the chair jammed under my door handle. The lights on. My phone clutched in my hand. Every sound in the hallway felt like footsteps stopping right outside my door. I started seeing him, across the street, sitting on a bench in the park, inside his car, parked too close to my building. He never approached me. He just stared. That was somehow worse. One night, someone knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks, heavy, deliberate. I froze. The knocking came again. Then I heard a soft sound, like someone leaning their forehead against the wood, slowly sliding down. I didn't open the door. In the morning, there was a wilted flower on the floor and a small dark stain on the wall of the hallway. Almost 2 years passed like this. 2 years of changing routes. 2 years of checking reflections in windows. 2 years of feeling like my life no longer belonged to me. Then one night, I received a message from an unknown number. "If I can't have you, no one will." That was the first direct threat. I changed my number. I moved to a different neighborhood. I told almost no one where I lived. For the first time in a long while, I felt free. 2 weeks later, the police knocked on my new door. They said his name. They told me they had found him alone in his apartment. Letters scattered across the floor. Photos of me taped to the walls. My name written over and over again, as if repeating it might bring me back to him. He had taken his own life. I felt relief, then guilt, then fear, all tangled together. People think that when something like this ends, the fear disappears with it. It doesn't. Sometimes when I turn off the lights, I swear I can still smell his cologne. Sometimes my phone vibrates in my pocket and there's nothing there. And some nights I hear 3 slow knocks on my door, even though no one is outside. And in those moments, I realize something that still chills me. Some people don't stop haunting you just because they're gone. My name isn't the one I'll use here. For this story, call me Daniel. I was 24 when I learned that love can turn into a cage without bars. Her name will be Claire. She was 22 when we met. At first, she was fragile in a way that made you want to protect her. Quiet voice, nervous smile, eyes that always looked like they were about to cry. She told me early on that she had a hard past, that she had been abandoned before, that people always left her. I promised her I wouldn't. That promise became the chain around my neck. At the beginning, our relationship felt intense, not dangerous. She wanted to be with me all the time, texted me every morning, every night. If I didn't answer within a few minutes, she would ask if I was mad at her. I thought it was just insecurity. Then one night, after an argument about something small I don't even remember, she sent me a message. "If you leave me, I'll kill myself." I remember staring at my phone, my hands cold. I thought she was exaggerating, being dramatic. An hour later, she sent me a photo. Her wrist, red, not deep enough to be fatal, deep enough to be real. I rushed to her apartment. She was sitting on the bathroom floor, shaking, crying, apologizing for being too much. I held her while she sobbed into my chest. That night, I didn't leave. After that, every attempt I made to create distance ended the same way. If I said I needed space, she would lock herself in the bathroom. If I said I wanted to break up, she would stop answering her phone. If I didn't reply fast enough, she would send messages like, "I can't breathe. Everything hurts. This is your fault." Sometimes she would swallow a handful of pills, then call me crying. Sometimes she would drink too much and say she hoped she wouldn't wake up. Sometimes she would stand on the edge of a balcony while I begged her to step back. Each time I told myself it was the last time. Each time I stayed. Not because I wanted to, because I was terrified of what would happen if I left. My life slowly shrank around her moods. I stopped seeing friends. I stopped answering calls from my family. I slept with my phone in my hand, afraid that if I missed one message, she might be dead by morning. I wasn't her boyfriend anymore. I was a lifeline, and I was drowning with her. The night I finally tried to leave, she locked herself in her room and went silent. No messages, no calls. I sat on my bed, staring at my phone, my heart pounding, imagining her body on the floor, cold, still. After 3 hours, I drove to her place. She was fine, sitting on her bed, scrolling on her phone. She looked surprised to see me. "I just wanted to see if you cared enough to come," she said. Something inside me broke in that moment. I realized that I wasn't keeping her alive. I was being used to keep her fear of being alone quiet. I told her I was done. She screamed. She cried. She told me she would die because of me. I called emergency services that night. I sat outside her apartment while they took her away. I felt like the worst person in the world, and also like I could finally breathe. I don't know what happened to her after that. Sometimes I still wake up at night thinking my phone is vibrating. Sometimes I still feel that old panic in my chest. The fear doesn't disappear right away. It lingers, because when someone teaches you that their life is your responsibility, it takes a long time to unlearn the feeling that leaving is the same as killing them. My real name isn't the one I'll use here. For this story, call me Victor. I met her during a volunteer program after a flood destroyed part of our town. Her name for this story will be Mara. We spent days clearing mud from houses, handing out food, pretending that exhaustion felt like purpose. Mara was intense from the beginning. Not loud, not dramatic, just present, always nearby, always watching. We dated for barely 2 months. 2 months of late-night conversations, of her telling me I was the only person who truly understood her. 2 months of her saying she felt safe with me, like she had never felt safe with anyone before. When I ended things, she didn't argue. She smiled. And that should have scared me more than any scream. After the breakup, she started showing up in places that had nothing to do with her. The gym I went to, the cafe near my work, the bus stop 3 streets away from her apartment. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Then I noticed patterns. She always arrived a few minutes after me, always left when I did, always seemed to be just close enough to be seen, but never close enough to confront. One evening, I found a small envelope slipped under my apartment door. Inside was a photo. It was me, taken from across the street as I unlocked my door. No message, just proof. After that, the gifts began. Not flowers, not notes, things from my life. A book I had lost years ago appeared on my desk at work. A hoodie I hadn't worn in months was folded neatly on my bed when I came home one night. A keychain from my childhood, something I hadn't seen since my parents' house burned down, was hanging from my doorknob. Nothing was broken. Nothing was stolen. It felt like someone was rearranging my existence. I changed my locks. I installed cameras. I slept with the lights on. The cameras never caught her. They only caught me, moving through empty rooms. The messages came later, not threatening, affectionate. You look tired today. You forgot to eat lunch again. You should really lock your window at night. The last message made my blood run cold, because my window had been open. I confronted her at the cafe when I saw her sitting alone at a corner table, staring at nothing. I asked her how she knew these things. She tilted her head as if confused by the question. I pay attention to what matters, she said. I told her to stay away from me. Her smile faded. That night, I woke up to the sound of breathing in my bedroom. Not loud, not rushed, slow, measured, as if someone was standing in the darkness, counting my breaths with me. I didn't move. I didn't open my eyes. My heart was pounding so hard I was afraid she could hear it. Every instinct told me to reach for my phone, to turn on the light, to scream. But fear pinned me to the mattress, heavy and suffocating. When I finally forced myself to look, the room was empty. But my bedroom door was open. The air felt colder than it should have been. The silence felt crowded, like something invisible had just slipped away. I started sleeping with a knife under my pillow after that. Not because I thought it would save me, but because holding it made me feel less helpless in the dark. 2 days later, I found a note taped to my mirror. I don't need to hurt you to be close to you. I moved out of the city a week later, left most of my belongings behind, changed my number, deleted my social media. For months, nothing happened. The quiet almost felt unreal, like the calm that comes after a storm when you're waiting for the next thunderclap. I began to think maybe I had imagined the worst parts. That fear had filled in details that weren't really there, that I could finally start over without looking over my shoulder. Until a package arrived at my new address. No return label. Inside was a single photograph. It was me standing in the kitchen of my new apartment, taken from the hallway, and on the back of the photo, in familiar handwriting, were 3 simple words. You forgot to lock. If this story sent chills down your spine, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more stories of real-life darkness. Your support helps us keep telling the stories many prefer to keep silent.